repetitive, consistent, gritty, boring, nasty, mean. All words that could be used to describe Gio. But in this instance, we'll use them to describe West Ham. Because that's what we've become. That whole West Hamitis, I called it, the West Ham way, whatever you want to call it. Play well against Wolves, barnstorming against Leicester. Well, pretty fine comeback and resilience against Tottenham Hotspur, and certainly plucky performances against Man City, against Liverpool, and against Arsenal. But the West Ham way, of course, is to go for all of that and then lose to Fulham. That would be right. Well, we didn't. Also, the West Ham way is to sort of play a flamboyant, flair-like kind of football. Well, we didn't do that. There were points in that game we couldn't string 2 passes together. Let's be perfectly fair. But we still came through and won. And I want to talk about something I keep alluding to, which is the black and white way of looking at it, and not very much of the grey area. Yes, it was interesting when I went to do the game. Basically, I was trying to have a sort out of the man cave in here, and I smashed my telly. I was absolutely gutted. 55-inch TV, so I watched the football on. I was trying to arrange it because I'm having a sort out of lights and microphones and computers and stuff like that. So I thought I'd be clever. I thought I'd mount it high on the wall. I brought it forward. I've got a green screen up there, which you sometimes see behind me. Pulled the green screen down, and basically the whole telly came down and just smashed. Oh, it was yesterday. And I thought I need to be able to watch the telly. I need to be able to watch the match. So in the end, I ended up going to Argos, which was in the Sainsbury's, and getting a telly. And it was crazy because lockdown is hard. It's hard to get anything. It's hardly an essential item, let's say. So I actually booked it online. They said I could go and click and collect on a day. I got a text through saying Friday the 13th. Well, that's no good. So I had to go in there with my daughter and give them a bit of flannel. And insist that because we were locked down, she had nothing else. I basically lied. I basically said the telly was for her. So it's very, very unlikely that whoever worked in the Argos inside the Sainsbury's watches this channel. So I did. But anyway, so I got the new telly, and at a time I really didn't need to be spending any money. I had to go buy this new telly. But anyway, it was such a rush to get it all plugged in and get it all ready for the game. Didn't have much of time for the build-up at all. And then when the game started, it was swashbuckling. We were playing really well. Really well. Really good long shots from Bowen. Did a really good one, didn't he? Cresswell had an excellent one. Masuaku had a shot. Sebastian Haller had a really good header. Couple of inches out, and, you know, their difference, and that's a goal. Bowen again. I think he made a really good tackle, didn't he, Bowen, as well? And he went down, ran down the line as well. Also, there was a point where lovely cross came in. I think it was from Cresswell as well. What was Bowen? I don't know what that header was from Bowen there. That was a pretty strange one. But there were numerous. If you remember in the build-up, I was talking about how many corners we might get. And I said, I think we'll get a lot of corners. Gio said, should we put West Ham down for 5? I said, yeah, go on, put us down for 5. We seem to have 5 corners within 30 seconds. Not quite, but you know what I mean. Really good. And then we just went into boring mode. And I think that's something that we've got to try and get used to that a little bit. And it is a bit of an adjustment for West Ham fans to do that, because we ground out another win. And what I found was quite important about that win, David Moyes alluded to West Ham before, and in the press conference, the post-match press conference, he called West Ham flaky West Ham. The flaky West Ham of old, I think, were the words that he used there. And he's not wrong, by the way. It made me remember a time when it was Stuart Pearce was asked about West Ham. Now, obviously, Stuart Pearce has been here in a managerial role, in as assistant manager or whatever, and he's played at West Ham. And Stuart Pearce, I heard him in an interview say there's something not right about that club. Over the years, they had some really good players, but there's a flakiness about them. There's a soft underbelly about the team. They lose when they shouldn't lose. They win when they shouldn't win, lose when they shouldn't lose, which is something we'd all recognise. And it just seems like David Moyes is really trying to address that. And when I was looking at the... Oh, before I go into that, actually, I just want to say, with the Lukeman, I was quite impressed. One thing I want to say, otherwise I'll just forget. What I was really impressed with, when the Lukeman miss, even though I thought we were ruthless and nasty and gritty and all those things I mentioned, I did think there was a kindness to us as well, which was, I think, in particular, Balbuena and Benrahma. After the final whistle had gone, they both went over and put their arm around Lukeman and consoled him. And, and obviously said nice words. Don't worry, mate. Keep your chin up. And because I think it was a really bad, embarrassing moment. Thank God, probably pleased the fans weren't in there. Let's be perfectly honest with that. It was a silly thing to do, and he made a massive mistake. But I like that. I like the fact that we can be sort of ruthless and nasty throughout the game and be gritty and determined. And then when it's like a prize fighter with manners. You go in there and for 12 rounds, you put your dukes up and punch someone in the face several times, and then at the end of it you shake hands. And I really liked that. I thought that was quite a nice touch from them. Talking about the grittiness during the game. Sorry, I know I've switched subjects. I'll get back onto the what I was going to say in a minute. If you remember the set 2 between Mitrovic and Ogbonna, Fabianski was on the floor. It seemed like everyone was on the floor after the collision. And Mitrovic was a little bit feisty, was a little bit fired up. And Ogbonna appeared to start the confrontation or carry the confrontation on, instigate a little bit more of it, then appeared to back away. And he was looking at the referee, saying to the referee, look, come on, this Mitrovic guy, he's fronting up, he's grabbing me, he's pushing me, you're going to let this go. But if you watch the replay, all the time, Ogbonna's basically acting innocent, saying not doing anything. He's walking forward. The whole time he's pushing his chest and inching in to the Fulham striker. Almost prompts him to say, go on, get yourself sent off. I thought he's a smart old cookie, Ogbonna. The more I see of him, the more I like. Obviously, I know he's a good defender and I know all this, but I think it was ever since I see him winding up the Chelsea keeper and giving it the large one. Ever since the monitors, the sound monitors, I've decided to have them switched off and not have the crowd effects. I've started listening to him a lot more, and he is a very, very vocal player. I never realised, never appreciated he was. Anyway, going back to what I was saying about the soft underbelly of West Ham, and now we seem to be a little bit more resilient. The league is very inconsistent at the moment. Very, very inconsistent. Chelsea, looked crap at the start and now starting to look a little bit better. Everton looked like they were going to run away and win the league. Of course, nobody believed they were, but you know what I mean. They looked really good. Rodriguez looks $1 million, and Calvert-Lewin, and so on and so forth. And inconsistency has crept in. The same for Aston Villa. They were marauding and they absolutely thrashed Liverpool again. And everyone's praising their McGinn and Barkley and Grealish and Ollie Watkins scored that hat-trick. And again, they've lost back-to-back games. There's inconsistency in their Southampton. I know they won yesterday, but they started off the season inconsistent. And by and large, a massive feature of the league this season is inconsistency. And I don't think we're inconsistent. I don't think we've got the high. Well, I was going to say we don't have the highs that maybe Aston Villa have. Crikey, we've had 3 and 4-0 wins. We have had highs, haven't we? But there just seems to be a level of pragmatism and a level of consistency in our play, which just means the things that I've said before, we just ain't a soft touch anymore. We're not going to roll over and have our tummies tickled. And a lot of that game I found to be quite a hard watch. I think particularly the last, well, I'm until the point when we score, probably from 75 minutes onwards towards the end. Fulham retreated. Fulham said, we're going to take the draw here, we're going to accept this. And I didn't feel we knew what to do. And it was quite difficult because you wouldn't say we had 2 brilliant passers in the centre of the park. Although I do feel Rice is improving. I felt Souček was having a shocker. And then when we brought on Lanzini and we brought on Benrahma, we had a couple of, and I did want them to come on, by the way, we had a couple of dribblers on this. We almost had nobody passing the ball. And we didn't seem to know how to unlock them. And I'm gonna upload the video tomorrow. I'm gonna speak more specifically about Benrahma and what I was pleased to see and why I was pleased to see it. But just going on the game now, before otherwise the video just becomes too long. I was absolutely delighted that in the end, we found a way through, and it was a bit of a hoof from the centre half. A little bit of confusion with the offside, it has to be said, with Sebastian Haller. The centre-back clears it. Ben Rama, very, very cool, by the way, and unselfish. And Souček, very cool, because he'd not had a good game at all. And there was a resilience about that. There was an ability to stay in the game. And when I mentioned, as I say, those words at the start about being gritty and reliable and nasty, and I bet if David Moyes would ever dare to listen to one of these videos, he'd probably find a lot of them very complimentary. I like David Moyes, as you know. He'd probably be listening to the words I said at the start thinking, oh yes, yep, nasty, resilient, consistent, hard to beat. I'll take that. Because it ain't really the West Ham way, let's be fair. But I think we got to embrace it now. On the review, just on that offside, by the way, and I want to say it now because at some point it's going to go against us, and when I call it against us, people are going to accuse me of moaning and not being consistent. I'm just moaning because it's West Ham. I thought Haller, that should have been offside. How Haller, and I'm pleased we won, obviously, how Haller can not be offside then? But did you see that Patrick Bamford one where he was pointing? Basically, he was pointing. How long's your arm? What, I don't know, a metre, 800 mil, I don't know, a metre, whatever it is. His arm, half his arm was offside. His arm was offside by about 50 centimetres. His body was onside by about 30 centimetres, right? And how that was offside, I don't know. Basically, his arm was offside. Some common sense needed to come in there. And they need to sort this offside out. And I was pleased to hear David Moyes call it as well, because David Moyes said if he was Scotty Parker, he'd be pretty annoyed about that. So, you know, at some point that's going to go against us. And I'll tell you what, we'll be fuming. They need to sort that. They really do need to sort that offside out. There's absolutely no doubt about it. In terms of the resilience, in terms of the West Ham way and the way it is, there were very much two schools of thought. I wasn't in the review watching, looking at the comments, but Gio very much made me aware that everybody had fallen into two camps. I went and had a little look, not just that, at a few of the comments elsewhere, which was, this is why Moyes is no good, and this is brilliant. And I'm not saying that, and by the way, there are loads of people that are in the middle. And the middle ground is where I say, I do feel that you are allowed, during a game, to be worried. I find the whole thing completely alien that you would sit there with complete faith in Moyes' system when we don't look like we're about to score, and that you wouldn't be concerned. You wouldn't be able to say, hold on, we're playing badly here. And there seems to be people copying a lot of criticism for daring to suggest that was a bit of a crap game. It was a crap game and we won. They can both be true. And on top of that, here's a massive bump in the grey area for you. You can even be pleased that we've won, despite the fact that we played crap. But what you certainly can do is point out the bits in the game where you feel we did well and you feel we did poorly. And let's be fair, in terms of skill, there wasn't an awful lot to admire in that game, particularly not after the first 10-15 minutes anyway. But the ends will justify the means, and David Moyes will think that, and David Moyes will be very, very pleased with what's happened. Because David Moyes will turn around and say, look, you, oh, ye of little faith, those of you who doubt me, there you go. I even said I would have preferred us to pass the ball a bit quicker, move the ball a bit quicker. I'm sure he does. I'm sure David Moyes didn't think it's perfect. But I think we're going to have to, as fans, learn to adjust to this. And quite frankly, I want a bit more of it. I don't mean I want to be bored watching football. No, but I think there's... I don't know. Who gets entertained every game? Real Madrid fans or something like that? I don't know. We're never going to have every game where we play well. But usually when we don't play well, we lose. And yesterday we didn't play well. And we won. And Fulham would be gutted, and Luke would be gutted, and the offside, yeah, all of that. But unless you're tough and unless you're resilient, you're not staying in the game and remaining in there for your substitution to make an impact. And David Moyes very much be thinking, hold on a second, you say I don't make substitutions. You say that my substitutions don't change a game. There you go. Guess he'll point to Yarmolenko one against Chelsea as well. And the trouble is, too many people have either made up their minds on anything, and they've made up their mind to dislike Moyes, or they've made up their mind to love Moyes, so Moyes can do no wrong, or everything Moyes does is wrong. And the fact of the matter is, as I say, it's probably somewhere in the middle. We probably got a few things wrong in that game, and he probably got a few things right in that game, and in the end, we ended up winning it. But the big thing that he seems to get right is, I think it's done on the training ground. I do think it's fitness, and I do think it's organisation, and I do think it's about having a resolve. Did anybody else have a bit of squeaky bum when Diop came on for Ogbonna? I mean, we shouldn't. Diop's a £23 million defender, but Ogbonna's such a reliable and brilliant central defender. It was a little bit of a worry, but it seems to work. We seem to have a system now. It seems to be, it doesn't matter. The first couple of games this season, I thought Fredericks played really well. Souček comes, Suval comes in. You get a similar level of performance from him. Diop plays at right centre half. He comes up. Ogbonna comes in. You get a similar level of performance. And I think a lot of this is happening on the training ground. And maybe this is why I think it's going to be difficult for Sebastian Haller, which is going to be tomorrow's video. I'm going to talk about Sebastian Haller and Ben Rama because because I think they both need to be talked about. And we've got an international break coming up, so we'll be talking about lots and lots of different things. Anyway, right. Anyway, listen, at the end, I'm actually going to go and record tomorrow's video now. Before I do, you'll have to excuse me because I'm going to upload right now. At the end of this video, there's going to be on the end slate. There's going to be a video from Peach, who's wonderfully, very kindly sent me in a video for reasons I already described. Basically, can we call it a workstation? It sounds pretentious, doesn't it? But where all my lights are, and my microphones are, on my camera, and where my telly, my nice telly should be, right? Basically, I haven't got all my stuff on my computer and everything set up there. So I'm actually recording this on my phone. Hello. So apologies, Peach, I've not been able to upload your video when you sent it in. I'll pin it to the end of this one, so please leave a comment. Engage with Peach, engage with myself, of course, naturally, please do. And I will see you tomorrow when we will be discussing Said Benrahma and Sebastian Haller. Two very, very different stories, I'm sure you'll find.